Okay, so the idea is that we're going to put in this BLACKVUE camera and this wiring harness. We have to run this wiring harness from the camera, which is actually mounted on the up here already. And this wire goes into the cigarette lighter. So we don't want that. We want the wire to run across the ceiling, down this hay post, down in here. If you see, probably can't see very well, but up under here, there'll be a photo of the wires. There's 4 wires in the Fords, and this is a 450. So in the 450, I have these wires that go down in here to the passenger side compartment on the firewall. And so what you do is you find the color that you want, and they're pass-through wires, and they're down, way down there, which we'll have somewhere way down. So then we're gonna run a power wire from the pass-through all the way across the firewall and underneath this little skirt right here, and run it across to the other side, and then we'll tie into the other side. Then over here, you have this box, it's a power box. And if you see right here, these are all your fuses for your UpFitter switches. There's a lot of videos out about these UpFitter switches, and pretty cool. Everybody's done a really good job, but just thought I'd do my own. And all you do is you find these colors, color-coded wires right here. And there's a chart, and it tells you which one's which. And then you match that color to whichever UpFitter switch you want on the ceiling. I'm gonna of course use UpFitter 1 because it's not powered all the time, and I want my camera to go off when I turn off my truck or accessory switch. Okay, so we're back in here. I've already trimmed off this little black tab. It's kind of a pain to get to, but once you get to it, you can see that you can just trim it right there. And the thing is, that big black plastic, depending on what size gauge, I'm using the smaller one because dash cam doesn't have that much distance. So I used my little trusty pliers here and found the gauge that I wanted. I think I ended up using like 16, 18 or something like that. That worked. And I trimmed that off. Same thing up there. And trimmed it back right there. So the dash cam will connect to there. We'll put the ground over here, and I'll run our power wire, and we'll see what happens. So far, we've got all the connections done. We got our first one right here. I ended up picking the wrong color and ended up doing UpFitter switch 3. Meant to do UpFitter switch 1. Doesn't really make any difference. They're all the same amperage. Just picked the wrong color. And then over here, we got it soldered. I ran my red wire through here, up underneath this plastic. That way it's not inside the engine compartment, and I don't have to cover it, and I don't have to worry about it getting hot. So back here, it's in this channel under here, and this just pops right up, really easy. One of the things that makes your job a lot easier is if you get you one of these little tool sets on Amazon. Amazon's your friend, you know. So it's how you can get all your parts and pieces, dash mounts. You got these little tools here for popping things off so you don't break things. So next thing you need to do is connect your wire, and then we're gonna put that wire up under here, under this dash, all along here. And then I've loosened these screws already, and so this just pops out. And you just release these screws, make sure they're loose. And then this comes out, this handle piece will pop out. And then you just use these little red tools right here to pop off things like these dash pieces. Usually I use the plastic ones precautions, which is probably better because you don't want to break anything or scratch anything. So to get these little tools are super handy for this kind of thing. And then you can see where all your wires are going. That way you can thread this wire right here all the way down and into here so that everything's tucked away nice and neat. I got this loose. Just something that you need to know. This right here is your airbag. You got wires and sensors going to those bags, and they're all up in here. So be super careful when you're poking around that you don't nick one of them. Never use a razor blade anywhere in this area. If you cut one of those, it's going to cost you several $1,000s to replace it. So you want to be super careful about messing with those. And when you put them back in, you want to gently get it back in there. It just goes right back in super easy, and then nothing gets messed up. So I'm going to take this wire now, and I'm going to tuck it up under here. I'm going to get it all nice and neat, and then run it down on the back side, probably up in here where these wires are, so it's not going to be in the line with the airbag, and then it'll just drop down all the way to the bottom. So final phase here, I highly recommend you get something that's non-flammable as a protective barrier for your carpet and other plastic pieces. I used a piece of old fire hose since I'm a retired firefighter, and as you see, it's very difficult, so you need a second pair of hands. So I just kind of lightly push that on there to hold it in place, and then I put the sleeve on there, melted it on, and voila, we have a connection. So very awkward spot. Yes, you can get to it, and yes, you can do it. It's just very awkward. So that's how I did it, and it seemed to work. So I was able to get that wire run behind here and put that back in place. No problem with the airbag. And then I'll tidy this all up, and it should work.